Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, my friends. Tremor has now been out in Mortal Kombat 1 for a few days, and in this video we're going to be talking exactly about that. We're going to be talking about Tremor and his impact on the game so far. A cameo's impact is very different than a character's impact. As the character, if you like the character, great. You know, Omni-Man, if you like him, great. But say if you don't like Omni-Man, right? Well, then it's back to the characters you already played. A cameo, though, that's just the beauty of Mortal Kombat 1, can add so much to every character and add so much to the meta of the game itself. So that's exactly what we're going to talk about today's video. But first, a word from today's sponsor. The sponsor of today's video is SGFdevices. We all know that leverless controllers are all the rage in fighting games today, and it's only going to be more so in the future. Why? Leverless controllers offer many advantages, and with the SGF Faust, you can get many of them. From all the benefits of Korean backdashing in Tekken, to tricks like extra fast uppercuts in Street Fighter, you can get all this and more with the SGF Faust. Only 150 American dollars, very portable, very lightweight, chips fast, and is made for and by members of the FGC. Including very many interesting add-ons like the foot pedal. Go full gorilla using your hands and feet, and quickly counter any drive impact without even having to move your hands. You can find their website in the video description, and thank you very much SGFdevices for sponsoring this video. So now that we've been playing around with Tremor for a few days, obviously there's a lot of character-specific synergies and combos, of which we'll showcase some in the video, but just a lot of interesting things I didn't even necessarily anticipate, even though it was staring me right in the face. Like, say, the variation switch. So we know that he comes in as an ambush, which is a variation, does a cool effect, pieces out, right? And naturally enough, you can do moves out of it too. But the fact that he shows up, and it's a completely free call, right? Because he's not doing anything other than situation, than just switching the variation. This has tech in and of itself. Like, say you're a character with not a great full screen presence, like General Shao, and you're up against someone who does have good full screen presence with good projectiles and good options from the screen, right? One of the things Tremor can offer you is a shield. Like, very literally, he'll take the hit for you. You'll take a little bit of damage, because whenever a cameo gets hit, you take damage, right? But he'll stop whatever's incoming and let you set up shop. Like in a zoning war, obviously Shao is not hanging in any way, shape, or form with Sindel, right? The startup on his ground pound is super slow. However, say you know it's coming, right? You can literally have Tremor block shots for you, and then you can set up your slower move, right? It's actually a really fun way to look at it. That Tremor, on top of all the myriad of things he offers you, because it's a lot, right? He's also basically a bodyguard on top of everything else. Because all it costs you for him to block a projectile coming your way is a little bit of health. That's it. It doesn't take any of your meter. It's completely free to do, right? Even if you're completely out of meter, he can still do it, right? Even if he can't actually do moves, he can still come in and switch stance, and therefore still take a shot for you, which is really interesting and really fun. For most of the cast, it's not something worthwhile to do, because you're going to lose your cameo meter, right? I guess Shujinko's an option, but Shujinko, well, Shujinko. Shujinko is maybe not as attractive as a prospect, right? Versus Tremor and his multitude of moves. So that's one cool aspect, right? Let's talk another. Now, another very important aspect of Tremor is the ambush calls. Just the fact that it gives you a lot to work with, and for the most part, the vast majority of the cast, he's going to give them mix-up potential where otherwise they might not, because once again, he's an ambush call, so you do not need to like stand your ground, do the summon call, set up shop, like say Kung Lao assist, right? And Kung Lao is great, still debatably the best assist in the game and all, but the fact that the setup hat is a summon call means you can't be doing anything other than setting up the hat. So say we do a bread and butter combo here for General Shao, you know, kind of nothing too special, business as usual, right? But because we have that ambush call for Tremor coming up, we get a nice little hard to blockable, as we call it. You can know it's overhead low or low overhead. Doesn't really matter because you still have to physically like be fast enough to block both, right? And for Tremor specifically, the low launches, so that's great. Automatically goes into the stage General Shao 4-2 overhead, and if you're too slow to block the overhead, you still get blocked by the overhead, and of course you can change the timing to make it whatever you want. And basically Tremor offers this to basically every character in the game. If you have any kind of overhead, since Tremor has multiple ambush lows, he can give you a lot of mix-up potential. And hey, just to mention it, because, you know, in these scenarios, the moves are very close together, right? So if the opponent was, say, so inclined, they get their armor broken, right? Because if you do it, even if you did it fast enough to trigger unblockable protection, it's 2 hits at once, right? And if you do it slow enough to not whatever, but basically any armored wake up is going to get blown out because it's 2 attacks at roughly the same time. So it gives some very difficult to answer options. Basically, any character that can provide a half-decent knockdown of significant length, like say Natara, any combo with a dive kick, right? You have time after dive kick, since you have a lot of advantage. You just kind of set up shop and do whatever you want to do with Tremor. Something like that, right? Very easy to set up. Just simply call Tremor, do the thing, and with Natara, since you have like extra armor mobility, you can just do quick and easy instant overheads whenever you want. Much the same here. You don't even have to be metallic. You can simply set up Tremor and then like go for multiple lows and set up a overhead after the fact. And of course, you can simply fake out after you say get the knockdown, call Tremor, don't even use them. And while they're blocking low for that, low that's not coming, drop in instant overhead, drop in throw them, drop in, go for like a low, sweep into upfly and do dive kick. That's a natural combo. The threat of just actually Tremor showing up, implies he's going to do some sort of ambush move, and it doesn't even necessarily have to happen. And then sometimes when you have a new cameo, you have a new friendship born. So that's one of the really cool things about cameo is sometimes the cameo sweeps in and someone's got a new best friend. And sometimes that means breaking up with your old best friend. So Reiko, well known, his best friend is Darius. Kind of always been the thing, because Darius lets him get the combo off the grab. And Tremor does that and so much more for our boy Reiko here. So just to give you an example here of just sometimes when the new cameo shows up and just the incredible synergies that can be born. So can Tremor let Reiko do the grab combos? Yes, he can. So specifically, this is an aftershock, and this is with his low ground pound. Since it's an exceptionally long animation, the hit's done, if you time it correctly, you can actually get combos after your command grabs. And hey, there you have it. So the damage is a little bit lower, and the Darius grab damage got nerfed too as well, right? So it's not too off the current nerf damage, but it gives you that extra bit of just damage in, right? And it still allows for the Omega home run scenario if you happen to have all the resources as well. So if you got, either Fatal Blow or a lot of bar to burn, don't worry, this is still very much a game-ending setup, to say the least, right? You're going to get that damage in. And Tremor offers a lot more than just the grab, right? Because that's the reason we went with Darius a lot of the time, and that's really all he offered him. But Tremor gives you a lot more. Some things are a little basic, like, hey, if you're playing Reiko, you're going to be throwing them stars. That's part of the character, right? And naturally, the only real counterplay against stars is neutral duck, right? Because that's how it is. And he gives you a very hefty option in neutral to discourage neutral ducking with, a 60% of the screen mid, right? In metallic. So that's really handy. So once they are a little conditioned to start neutral ducking and neutral waiting for that bad boy, they can get blasted by that. That's a little thing. Let's try something bigger. Now, how about changing up the combo routes for the better? So Reiko certainly has cameo pairings that give him good combos, but the thing is, and the issue is, if you get the good combos and you don't get the grab potential, right? Tremor lets him have both. So say we take a stock B&B combo like this, right? When you're going for meterless, you're usually aiming for something like this and getting a ground pound. And there we go, 40%. Not too shabby. Granted, it's a bar and a cameo, right? But this is a cameo that lets Reiko do multiple things. Normally has to choose between the grab or the combo damage, and Tremor says, no, you can have both. So that's really handy. And he also gives Reiko some fun neutral options. You can either do it after a knockdown or whatever, set up just raw neutral. So in metallic, we have the projectile, right? And there's the low, and there's the overhead. If you hold the button, you get the overhead, right? And, you know, if only I could hit overhead, low at full screen at the same time. And Reiko kind of can do that, right? All you have to do, when you're mostly full screen, just simply get the overhead toss in, and then go for your run. And you can hit overhead low so tight, it will trigger unblockable protection. The thing is, though, with unblockable protection, they still have to block the first hit correctly, right? And if it's that tight, even you won't know which one's going to hit first. Once again, you can just do this full screen, or you can just do this after a particularly decent knockdown setup. Just like drop a little bit of damage to the combo, just end with like stand 3 or something, then you can go directly into it. And of course, the fun thing about this specifically is, right, well, it certainly is cool to like do that kind of stuff. You can also bait people out, like when they're worried about blocking overhead low, all that kind of stuff. You can change the script a bit, because keep in mind, Reiko doesn't actually have to commit to the slide. You can just go for the overhead, be in their face, then go for another overhead, then go for a low, or try to dunk them while they're blocking, who knows, right? But just a lot of fun options. Tremor might be Reiko's new best friend, is what I'm saying, because it offers them just a lot of options where before you had to pick one or the other with the cameos, and Tremor lets him have all the options, plus some fun gimmicks. So for our boy Tremor, these are just some examples of what's been happening over the last few days since he launched, and there's so much more you can do with him. With a character with such a variety of moves, once again, more than any other cameo by a lot. He's got a lot of options, and the fact that every option can be an ambush, just on demand, makes Tremor a pretty special boy. So over the following days and weeks, I expect a lot more to be found with Tremor, and his stock's only going to be going up. Obviously, he still has to compete with Kung Lao. Striker stock is also starting to rise recently. So it's not like he's going to overwhelm the game or anything, but I think he's a very worthy and strong addition to the game, and it's only going to be proved more over time. That all said, though, that is the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Mortal Kombat.